it's Leela, the proud poly kinky queer slut. Today's question is, what is shadow work? And a related topic is, what is shadow self work? And, I kind of like to think of it as shadow play, not shadow work, but it's all, semantics. Um, it's basically letting yourself be who you're afraid you might be, letting yourself be the scary things. So I think a lot of us have a fear that part of us is a monster, that we could do horrible things, especially those of us for whom horrible things have been done to us. We wonder if we are capable of those things. Um, I think a lot of us have parts of ourselves that we're afraid of, that we are, or that we're angry at, or that we don't let out because we don't think it's okay. We don't think they're safe. So, shadow work or shadow play, however you do it, is expressing those parts of yourself, letting yourself be that, letting yourself imagine you are the demon that's attacking and killing people, letting yourself imagine that you are, whatever your scary thing is. So, if you're afraid you might be a killer, imagining you're a killer. If you're afraid you might be totally weak and unable to stand up for yourself, imagining yourself being weak and unable to stand up for yourself. Um, it's going to the dark places. And when you're doing this with kink, it can be really fun to pretend. You can feed that into your pretend. It also works with daydreams, with meditations, with just thought processes in general. I'm not talking about bringing this into your real life. Certainly, don't show up in your real life as your worst possible self. But you know, by playing with it, we find out which elements of this are authentically us. And I will say you do end up bringing the strengths from it into your life and into yourself in a way that feels great, and being less afraid of yourself. In my experience, that's what I found. I'm less afraid of myself after playing with my shadow work. So for me, shadow work might look like I'm gonna design a scene where I'm a demon, where I am the aggressor, where I am the cruel person taking advantage of somebody else, and play with that and see how that feels for me and how that works for me, and then have that experience of that aftercare of the scene of knowing that no, this was pretend and just for fun for everybody, and I'm okay, but also experiencing that mindset, letting myself go to that mindset and seeing what things in that mindset are valuable for me. Also, it helps me see how far I actually am from being a monster. I might be afraid that I could become this horrible thing, but then when you actually let yourself pretend to be that, then you see that no, there's so many things in real life that stop me from being this thing. And that can be really reassuring. Also, I know shadow work is something to be done in therapy as well. It was very, very helpful for me in my therapy when I've written or expressed really dark thoughts and had my therapist receive that and hear it and work with me on what I was thinking and feeling through that. Um, Important thing to remember is that your shadow self and your shadow work, that's not who you really are, but it also is who you really are. It's not, um, you don't need to be afraid that shadow is going to follow you into your everyday life, but you are shutting off parts of yourself by not looking at those parts that you're afraid of, or that you don't feel like belong. So it helps with authenticity, but also you're not going to make yourself a monster by looking at your shadow. That's just not how that works. As a matter of fact, most people who actually do violent things, in my opinion, most people who actually hurt people, in my experience, are people who do a lot of repressing of these things and have them bubble out. And also, frankly, who have serious mental health conditions that are going untreated, which is more the underlying issue. So, assuming you're a normal, relatively healthy, functional human, then yeah, no harm at all in letting yourself think about, what if I were the witch? What if I were the cruel queen? Go there, play with it. Let yourself think about it and see what you find out about yourself, because you might just find you have more power than you thought you did. And isn't that beautiful? Have a great day. This is Leela, the proud poly kinky queer slut. Proud Poly Kinky Queer Slut is art. It is made for entertainment purposes only. I am not a subject matter expert on any of the topics discussed. Please do not rely on anything presented here as fact. Think for yourself, do your own research, make your own decisions. To submit a question, please email kinkyqueerslut@gmail.com.